I just think that soft skills is something that's not easy to always take on, but it becomes a lot easier when we keep unity in mind and we actually focus on the goal.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kate Lance, and I am the Director of Programs and Communications here at the Creative Coast in Savannah, Georgia. The Creative Coast is a 501c3 nonprofit, and we exist to catalyze the coastal Georgia's innovation economy. And we do this through our social and educational programming. And you're listening to one of our educational programs that's called Lunchtime Topics. And this happens twice a month, where we bring on an expert who shares their wisdom with the startup and innovative community here in Savannah, Georgia. Next month, we're actually going to be switching to in-person lunchtime topics and inviting people to our office here at 2 East Bryan Street in Savannah to share for a topic on ChatGPT with Miriam Sharp, who's actually on today. And so I just invite you guys to stay tuned about that. But today's lunchtime topic, we're going to be talking with Alia Freeman, who is going to speak with us about growing your leadership skills. And she's the Vice President of Membership for Hostess City Toastmasters, the local chapter here. We're going to talk about what Hostess City Toastmasters is. We're going to talk about how it serves business leaders and really anyone in the community who wants to improve their leadership skills and also public speaking skills. So a little bit about Alia. She is a master cosmetologist of 9 years, where she provides hair makeup services through beauty transformational services and bridal events. And she's an entrepreneur here in the Creative Coast community. She's a member of the Creative Coast as well. She also provides education that provides global visibility of textured hair by offering structural training tips as guiding tools for textured hair through her business. She's a podcast host as well, and she provides weekly tips on her podcast, The Fight to Unite, which creates an elevated mindset for salon professionals for growth development. And again, as she serves as the VP of Membership for Hostess City Toastmasters Club, which is the local club here in Savannah, and it positions her to lead in the community. And so that's what we're talking about. Welcome, Alia. We're excited to have you here today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kate. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today.
So can you tell us more about Hostess City Toastmasters? What is it? What do you guys do? And how does it relate to today's lunchtime's topic?
That's a really great question, Kate. I absolutely love Hostess City Toastmasters. So just to give you an insight of what our club is, our mission is truly focused on providing a mutually supportive and also positive learning environment where each member actually have the opportunity to develop in communication and leadership skills. Our main focus is to help build self-confidence as well as personal growth. And I would say Hostess City Toastmaster is definitely focused on leadership. We're pretty common of people thinking Hostess City Toastmaster just focus on public speaking, but I would love to just share more of the leadership portion of it today.
Awesome. Well, can you tell us a bit about yourself and leadership roles and your role at Hostess City Toastmasters?
So you've already spoken a lot about me. One thing that I would highlight to add in addition to what you already spoken is I've discovered through Hostess City Toastmaster that I am a transformational leader. And a lot of the qualities that I carry is I recognize that I love to find out how to be strategic through changes. With the pandemic happening right now, there are so many changes that have to be made for organizations, business, or just leadership, period. Like the way we lead now is different versus the way it was before the pandemic. So I discovered that I am a transformational leader. That gives me the ability to connect with individuals as well as group on a different level than other leaders would. So I get to work with them a lot closely. One of my position that I am in, that I carry within Toastmaster, I am the VP, Vice President of Membership with Hostess City Toastmaster. And some of the responsibilities that I carry within this organization is I welcome the guests as they come to our meetings on a weekly basis, as well as assist new members with onboarding process. And also I help with membership engagement. So that's a little bit about what I do as far as an officer with Toastmaster.
Yeah, I'm glad that you talked about transformational leadership too, and also the changes that came about with the pandemic. I know that a lot of companies came to us during the pandemic because they realized they needed to pivot to online meetings and online, I guess, even having like an e-commerce store and presenting themselves online differently. And so that's a huge part of, in general, not only just the pandemic, but entrepreneurship requires changing directions all the time, pivoting, meeting the needs of your team and meeting them where they're at, and being flexible. And so I'm glad that you brought that up. And I want to delve into, kind of these idea of the tenets of leadership. I know we've kind of talked about a little bit before this. We talked about how Hostess City Toastmasters one of the focuses through the services y'all provide is on leadership. Can you share what Hostess City Toastmasters has taught you about the most important skills a leader should have?
That's a big question. So what I have discovered within Hostess City Toastmasters is there are different types of leadership skills. And I think one of the key things that I have actually gained as a leader was recognizing where my strengths are in leadership, and then actually able to pursue thing that actually gave me the ability to be able to exercise those skills. Now, one of the greatest things about Hostess City Toastmasters is that we have so many different types of leaders within our club. One thing that our club provides is education. So every meeting, there's always a learning opportunity where you get the opportunity to learn from each type of leader. And it will give you the ability to enhance a lot of different leadership skills within your day-to-day task. So I find that not only does the pathways that the organization provide leadership skills that you can actually exercise, but you also get to watch other leaders operate in their leadership skills and learn from them as well.
Can you provide maybe some examples and maybe one or two of this happening at a club and what that experience was like?
Yes. So I would say this. We just recently had a TEDx Top Tip event. And one of our actual leaders, Miss Miriam Sharp, she is actually over that part of the organization. Well, she couldn't fulfill the task due to some time that she needed to take within her personal health. And she passed over the opportunity for me to lead over this type of event. I am not skilled in TEDx at all, but I think that because we had different type of leadership that were within the club, they were actually able to help me where I needed help. Now, there were also pathways within our organization that I would love to share more about later. Is those pathways will provide educational skills that you can actually learn on how you can lead events as well as lead small and large groups. And also to take on any type of collaboration that the club may need. Within hosting this event, I have learned so many different types of ways to lead. When there are conflicts, what happens when you plan and your plan fails and you have to go back in the plan and restructure, and also too, how to pull something together within a short amount of time. We only had 3 weeks to fulfill this event, and because we focus on leadership collaboration, it gave us the ability to actually present this an excellent event for the upcoming event that's coming in 2023.
Awesome. Yeah, it sounds to me like, we talked about growing your leadership skills. I think a lot of times, there's this idea that some leaders, people are just naturally leaders, but I think it comes from people putting themselves in situations where they have to rise to an occasion and lead, right? Like if you're not putting yourself out there, if you're not getting involved in your community, if you're not, practicing those skills, then you're really never going to develop them. And so it's exciting to me that, for somebody that wants to lead a company someday and lead teams, like what kind of experience do you have doing that? And like in your community, like if you really want to develop those skills, there are lots of ways you can do that, to get to where you want to be in life. So, and I think the more practice you have, the better. It makes you a better leader. So there's some people that don't have any practice at all and end up in leadership roles, and you can really tell, right? So it speaks a lot to me when somebody has that experience and they can bring it with them into business. So I want to talk about, we kind of have touched on this just now, but can we talk about soft skills a little bit? That's often a hot topic. And can we talk about, you mentioned conflict, that's really where some soft skills come to play. What are soft skills and why are they really important?
That's a really good question. If I can share what soft skills are anything that involves you to have to negotiate, communicate, leadership, collaboration, working through differences, conflict, and it's actually how can you lead through any type of circumstance where it's very uncomfortable. I don't think soft skills is something that anyone can just take on and just do. I think it's something that you experience. And the more and more you experience opportunities to exercise soft skills that are going to put you in an uncomfortable place, I've recognized through my own experience when I actually not avoid the situation, but actually communicate and listen more through those situations, it gives me the ability to be able to navigate through them clearly. Most of the time when we are going through situation where there's conflict as well as differences, a lot of differences, it actually showed me that sometimes it's best to focus on the main goal and see how within our differences we can collaborate to still reach the goal. Not all the time does it mean that one choice is better than the other, but it gives you the opportunity to actually create something new based upon the individuals that are within the conflict. So I just think that soft skills is something that's not easy to always take on, but it becomes a lot easier when we keep unity in mind and we actually focus on the goal.
I think that's beautifully said. I think a lot of times that gets missed, especially in business. And if you can find ways that it's a mutual win for everybody and really understand, instead of immediately challenging another position, but finding ways to gracefully challenge it so that everybody can succeed through that conversation. I think that's so important. And there's a lot of that missing, in discussions today. I mean, soft skills are like a huge topic right now, and making sure that a lot of times I hear people talk about future generations developing soft skills, but I see it everywhere that everybody needs to be doing this. It doesn't matter your age. Like these are really learned things that, just to be quite frank, sometimes you see people in business that have been at it for 30, 40 years and you're like, wow, that person could use some soft skills in this situation. So, I know something I'm trying to work on too. Not putting that on, just to speak very transparently, I always want to be better at soft skills. And it's one of the greatest skills you can have. And I remember reading a book from one of my friends, and she wrote this a couple years ago. But one of the chapters of the book was soft skills are actually hard. And it was about like just that, like executing soft skills aren't easy, and they don't come naturally for a lot of people, right? Like, anyways, so can you talk about the communication piece of leadership and best practices per Hostess City Toastmasters? Because communication is such an important part of being a good leader, and not just saying exactly what you think, but being careful about how you word things, or being careful about how you address certain people in certain ways. Like, tailoring your communication to that person even. And I'm not trying to lead the discussion a little bit, but those are just some thoughts that popped into my head. And I know that Hostess City Toastmasters, I'm just fumbling all over my words. Hostess City Toastmasters is especially great about the communication piece. So can you talk about, going back to the question, best practices for Hostess City Toastmasters?
Yes, I would love to say one of the practices that I've experienced through leadership is we can't lead everyone the same. And a lot of time within leadership, we're trying to get those who are following to always participate. But I recognize most of the time when people aren't participating in the things that you want them to lead in, somehow they're distracted in something in their daily life. And it pulls them away from actually being able to follow where you're trying to get them to lead. One practice that I've experienced through leadership, if we learn to actually connect with people on a personal level to understand who they are personally, it can help you with knowing how to lead this person effectively. No matter how much we try to separate business and personal, we still have to recognize that there is a personal side of this person that is needed to be attentive in order for them to operate in business. So with this practice in place, this will help any business owner understand why it's hard to get people to show up to work. There is a personal side of them that is conflicting them to not be attentive on the business side. Or then sometimes you have some that are actually attentive in business, but maybe they're not attentive in their personal. So I've recognized actually exercising, understanding who the person is personally, as well as on the business side, it will help you understand how to lead each individual effectively. And then this also helps with group as well. Because one thing that we've discovered within our club is one of our members, she introduced play to us. And sometimes business and organization can be so serious that we forget to let our hair down and play and interact on the personal side. So having that balance, it shows that we can actually be human, but we also can be attentive in the things that we are called to lead in.
Awesome. So how does Hostess City Toastmasters assess communication and leadership progress? In other words, how do you assess growth amongst members?
Okay, so this is like the hidden jewel for Hostess City Toastmasters. We have, once you become a member, we have an educational software available that is called Pathways. And within Pathways, this is where it breaks down different types of education that involve communication, leadership, any type of thing. I mean, you can learn how to do podcasts, public speaking, interviews, so many different things. So this gives the member the opportunity to learn the skill. And then also at the end of the pathway, it challenges you to create a speech based upon the education that you gain within that topic. So each member is responsible for taking the course and then presenting a speech. This speech gives you the opportunity to show up to our meeting weekly and operate in that speaker position and present a speech. So once you've given the speech, you have a certain amount of time that you have to actually present that speech. And it also leads to evaluation. So there will be an evaluator that will evaluate each speaker and give a good supportive feedback. It will be some criticism, feedback that will actually challenge them to become better, but then also too, it'll be positive feedback to let them know what it was that they did well. Each speaker have the opportunity to evaluate those evaluations and actually put them into practice and present them again. Now, this presents growth for each member because not only are they able to do this within our club? But if there's any type of speaking engagement that they may have to do at work or anything that they have to do in the community, any type of leading or speaking opportunities that they have out in the real world, they can utilize Hostess City Toastmasters and use our meeting for practice where we'll give them feedback and it can help them be sure that they are presenting them well in the public.
What are some case studies from Hostess City Toastmasters class that you can share with the audience of improved leadership skills and growth? I think you already talked about your experience, so I don't mean to kind of ask the same question over again, but if you have other examples, that'd be awesome if you could share those.
Yes. So one case study that I want to share with you guys, I am extremely excited about. We have two members that are currently 2023's TEDx speakers this year at the TEDx event. I am extremely proud and honored to say that these two members, they have actually taken the challenge and they've actually put in an application and gotten approved for this event. So this showed that they were actually able to take on an opportunity. That is something that I definitely want to share about Toastmasters, because we mentioned about building confidence, and a lot of the time before you actually become a member, maybe there are some opportunities that you want to prepare for that you're not confident enough to speak or maybe take on those opportunities. So exercising some of the speaking engagement that we have within our pathways and that the different things that we have to offer within our program, it gives our members the ability to exercise their confidence and actually be able to go out and do whatever it is that they want to do that involves speaking and speaking as well as leadership. So I am definitely excited for our two members that is going to be presenting in May at the 2023 TEDx event.
I could be wrong, but isn't the number one phobia the fear of public speaking, like even before the fear of death? So like it goes, it goes back to what you're talking about with confidence, which, some people just do seem to have that natural, ability to get in front of a room and speak. But I bet you they've had so many experiences of putting themselves out there and really getting that practice in, whether it be in their school or, in clubs or committees. It really does come with practice and putting yourself out there. And I can't think of really a better place to hone that than within the safety and friendly, supportive environment of Hostess City Toastmasters. You guys do a really good job of providing, kind feedback but still, being assertive and providing, not letting anybody get by at the same time. So I've seen a couple of y'all's meetings, been to a couple of y'all's meetings when y'all were hosting them here at the Creative Coast. And it was very interesting to see, people get up in front of you all and share on a something that they, whether they put together or not in advance, something that they were an expert on, and get that kind of critical feedback. And I think that's something, another piece of it is like, it can be scary to receive criticism. And so practicing that too is another important piece of leadership. Is if you're going to put yourself out there, expect to get criticized, especially being a leader of a company or being in a kind of management role. Like, you better expect to be criticized, and you're not always going to be liked for the things you do. And so being able to practice that confidence and knowing yourself and standing firm in what you know and being able to communicate that well is so important. So is there anything else, this has kind of been a shorter lunchtime topic. I want to leave room for some questions, but is there anything else that we didn't talk about you'd like to share today?
Yes, I definitely want to share the technology side of Hostess City Toastmaster. I remember a little earlier in our conversation, you mentioned how we were virtually, we have a hybrid platform, and I can say there are pathways available that can help you to actually become stronger in technology. Some of our speeches can be given virtually on a virtual platform as well as in person. And this gives all of our members the opportunity to exercise their skill and actually get comfortable with sharing presentations on the computer, the laptop, or if they need to stand in front of a projector screen, they have that opportunity to build confidence with speaking as well as any type of technology based. I mean, anything as far as webinars, if you want to do a podcast, all of these different things are so much needed as the community is growing in technology. I think it's so important that you have a safe space where you actually can practice these things so that we're not stumbling when it's time for us to actually present them in the real world, especially if we're getting paid, dollars for a certain thing. So this gives you the place to actually exercise your communication skill, presentation skill on a platform that will support you. And I also would say too, if anyone struggle with confidence with speaking, do know the more you show up with Toastmasters, you're going to see yourself grow and become stronger in speaking because you've actually put in the work so that you're able to see personal growth within yourself.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Before we go into Q&A, can you share with people where they can go online to learn more about Hostess City Toastmasters, sign up for the hybrid meetings, and just connect with you?
Yes. So our club meetings are weekly on Tuesdays. Right now, we're currently only Zoom until May 13th. After May 13th, we'll be going back to a hybrid platform. So this gives our members the opportunity to join on Zoom, and you can be anywhere. You don't have to physically be here in Savannah. So that is a plus for our club because you can be on vacation or maybe you stay out of town and you still can join in. But we meet weekly on Tuesday. Meeting starts at 6:15 sharply. And then also the meeting ends at 7:30 every Tuesday. You can join in on our club by going to toastmasters.org. And when you go to toastmasters.org, you can type in the search box Hostess City Toastmasters, and you should be able to find us. Also, do know that there are clubs all around the world that you can actually become a part of, that you can actually visit to see which one fits you best. But we would love to have you at our Tuesday meeting at Hostess City Toastmasters. And it's every week from 6:15 to 7:30 p.m. on Tuesday.